Do you know of the Endurance?
I know I don't have any.
You'll get there. Got to do some Kegels.
Needs some of that goat weed.
No, the Endurance. I just found, this is almost like something like I just found this out, but this is really party knowledge.
Got it.
That we're getting into right here. The Endurance. This was a ship back in 1914. Explorer Ernest Shackleton.
Best name ever.
That is a great name. With Captain Frank Worsley.
Oh, what a crew.
Right? Like, we need to go back in time and get better names.
These guys definitely had lava lamps.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No doubt.
So
as long as they survive the story that Luke's about to tell.
if they survived, if they're still alive today.
Dude, Ernest Shackleton.
That's a good one.
I want a name that people are just, that guy doesn't jerk around.
Yeah. Nick, that's not cutting it. Luke, that's bollocks. DJ Chop Suey, we're on to something.
There you go.
We're on to something.
All right.
So the Endurance,
1914
was a 3-masted Berkentine, which Sir Ernest Shackleton and a crew of 27 men sailed for the Antarctic on. So this was supposed to be 1914 and 1917 Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition. The ship, originally named Polaris, was built in Framnes shipyard and launched in 1912 from Sandefjord Fjord in Norway. Then they changed it to the Endurance.
After the trip?
No, before the trip. So it was originally dubbed Polaris.
Polaris.
And then they made it the Endurance.
Well, that was a bad idea because then they had something to prove.
Yeah. How long can you go?
Yeah, well, we can't come back. We can't turn around on a ship called the Endurance. You got one way, buddy, forward.
So this whole trip, I mean, I'll get into a little bit more, but I'll give you guys a little preface and then I'll get into the full details. So his goal, Shackleton, was to get to Antarctica from Georgia. Not Georgia, South Georgia. Totally different. Georgia's up in, wherever it is. South Georgia's down closer.
The European Georgia?
Yeah, that Georgia. That's not that Georgia. This is South Georgia's more by South America in Atlantic.
So, oh wow, not the state.
Yeah. No.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at all this party on, man. I'm going to be dropping facts on people around the punch bowl.
So, the Endurance, 144 feet. So we know that's with conversion more than 7 meters. One thing about it, it's a 350 horsepower coal-fired steam engine and sail. I just thought that was
what
cool.
So this was 1914. So is this a wooden ship?
Wooden ship,
3-masted,
but
it also had
sail.
It also
sail
had
and an engine.
Wow, they really kitted it all out.
Yeah, this was the Endurance, baby. It's going.
But what was it? A paddle, like a paddle thing that moved it, or what was the engine for?
Yeah, for propulsion at times.
Oh, turned to probably.
Yeah.
Prop.
So
got it.
The story here of Ernest Shackleton. This is like get ready for a ride of a lifetime here.
Okay, we're ready.
So December 5th, 1914, Endurance left South Georgia to establish a base on Antarctica's Weddell Sea, Weddell Sea coast. So they were carrying 27 men plus one stowaway who became the ship's steward, 69 dogs, nice, and a tomcat erroneously named or dubbed Mrs. Chippy. Their goal...
Sorry about that, cat.
Yeah. Their goal was to reach the South Pole. There was another expedition going from the other side that I read about a little bit. This is possibly for another time, maybe not. You can do your own research. Other side of the Antarctic that was going to do the same thing, not of going trans. No, they were together.
They were both
they weren't
the same party.
So the other side, they weren't trying to go. So they were coming from New Zealand. They were landing, and then they were going to put supply depots up to certain points going to the North Pole from that side. And Ernest Shackleton and his group were going to go to the North Pole and then have a way out.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. So they were gonna traverse the South Pole, and once they got through the South Pole, there were gonna be those supply depots on the way out.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a team effort because it's freaking freezing down there.
yeah.
So December 5th, 1914, they left South Georgia. South Georgia. 2 days later, Endurance entered the pack ice, and the pack ice is a barrier of thick sea ice that stands guard around Antarctica continent. So it's just tons of ice. Several weeks, the ship poked and prodded its way through the leads on the ice, gingerly making its way south. So they're trying to get to the Weddell Sea and whatever the cape I said they were trying to get to. So, it's party knowledge. You'll pick it up in no time. So on January 18th, so this is a month and a half later, 1915, Endurance was trapped by ice with no way forward and no way back. Endurance was beset, in the words of one of the crew, Thomas Ord Lees, frozen like an almond in the middle of a chocolate bar. Is what he said. They were
doomed like an almond, frozen in a sea of chocolate. That'd be the best thing to write in your journal.
Yeah. So they were within a day's sailing of their landing place, but now they were at the mercy of the ice floes. They had to set up camp on the ice and create a routine to wait out the winter. So the ship's surgeon, he wrote, Alexander Macklin, he said, Shackleton did not rage at all. No raging back then. Or show outwardly the slightest sign of disappointment. He told us simply and calmly that we must winter in the pack, explained its dangers or possibilities, never lost his optimism and prepared for winter. Mm-hmm. So that just shows his leadership for the crew as an explorer.
Nice.
But in private, however, he revealed greater foreboding, quietly expressing to the ship's captain, Frank Worsley, one winter's night that the ship can't live in this, skipper. It may be a few months, it may be only a question of a few weeks or even days, but what the ice gets, the ice keeps.
Oh, epic last words.
That's like
way better than the almond thing,
right? Yeah,
say that at a party, man. Everyone, who the fuck is this guy?
The ice keeps what the ice gets.
That's like so badass.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get to the Arctic Peninsula, all that jazz. 100 miles away, came up short. They're stuck. Now they're just flowing. They started removing what they only needed from the Endurance. They left books, Bibles, clothing, tools, keepsakes.
That journal about the almonds.
So some of the younger dogs that they had that couldn't pull their weight, and Mrs. Chippy, were shot. They had to sacrifice.
Why are you gonna waste a good round on a cat?
Food.
I just use your boot.
I guess.
Sorry.
That's what they said. No.
Okay.
So then, come October 27th, 1915, nearly a year later. So for almost 10 months, January to October, the ice shifted and compressed the ship, lifting the stern, tearing off its rudder and its keel. Freezing water rushed in. 25 days later, the Endurance began its descent to the depths of the Weddell Sea.
Whoa.
So finally sank. I have a link in here, and there's like some really cool pictures and stuff, and we'll get to that later, though.
Nice.
The initial plan was to march across the sea. I told you this part, but it was abandoned after the men managed just 7.5 miles in 7 days. There's no alternative, wrote Shackleton, but to camp once more on the floe and to possess our souls with what patience we could till conditions should appear more favorable for a renewal of attempt to escape. So he said, screw that. We're not doing the South Pole thing. We gotta get out of here somehow. So they had a couple boats. So slowly, steadily, ice drifted further to the north. April 7th, 1916.
2 years later.
Year and a half.
Oh, year and a half. Okay.
So from December to April of another year. Snow-capped peaks of Clarence and Elephant Islands came into view, flooding them with hope. The floe has been good to us friends, wrote Shackleton in his diary, but it's reaching the end of its journey and it is liable at any time now to break up. So
was the floe moving, and as they were walking on the floe, it's kind of like those airport walkways. It was like helping them get closer to where they needed to go.
Yeah, wherever its will was taking them. So it's like, they're on these floating bits of ice.
Yeah.
And on April,
like Rudolph.
Yeah. So he's with that. He's saying, it's kind of getting warmer. This ice is probably going to break up soon, and we got to make our move. So
we overcommitted.
So then 2 days later, it did exactly that. Splitting beneath them with an almighty crack, Shackleton gave the order to break camp and launch the boats. And all at once, they were finally free of the ice that had alternately bedeviled and supported them.
Whoa.
So now they're on these little lifeboats.
Smart.
30 people or whatever. like 20. What was it? 27.
Yeah.
26 and
Couple
captain.
guys.
Yeah, a few guys. So close to 30. Now they're confronted with a new foe, the open ocean and frigid temperatures.
It's not getting any easier.
Not getting any easier. Oh, I'm sorry it's taking so long, but this is just, it's like such
I'm riveted.
Yeah, this is like a freaking amazing
I don't know
story.
how it's going to end.
So through it all, Captain Worsley navigated through the spray and the squalls until after 6 days at sea, Clarence and Elephant Islands appeared just 30 miles ahead.
Oh.
The men were exhausted. Worsley had, by that stage, not slept for 80 hours. That's like 3.5 days.
What?
He's up. He's the goddamn captain that you want.
Yeah.
Next to Captain Daddy, you want Captain Frank Worsley at the helm.
I'm going to name my cat Frank Worsley.
Yeah. And while some of them were crippled by seasickness, others were racked with dysentery. Frank Wild, Shackleton's second in command, wrote, "At least half of the party were insane, yet they rowed resolutely towards their goal. And on April 15th, they clambered ashore on Elephant Island." This is not the end of the story.
Oh my!
So they're on Elephant Island. No one else is here. There's where they land. There's really no hope of anyone else finding them. So at this time, they'd been on. This is the first time they've been on dry land since leaving South Georgia 497 days previously.
Oh my God!
But their ordeal was far from over. So they and these are just about estimated dates because they were like saying days, so I was like trying to calculate the days. So
Yeah.
April 26, 1916, Shackleton, Worsley, and 4 others set out in one of the lifeboats, the James Caird, to seek help from a whaling station on South Georgia, more than 800 miles away. So they left the other 20 to go get help.
In a dinghy boat, no less.
Yeah, in a little dinghy.
800 nautical miles.
Take this canoe 800 miles. It
Yeah.
sounds like a great plan.
In the thrashing ocean, for 16 days they battled monstrous swells and angry winds, bailing water out of the boat and beating the ice off the sails. The boat tossed interminably, and big waves under gray, threatening skies, recorded Shackleton. Every surge of the sea was an enemy to be watched and circumvented. Even as they were within touching distance of their goal, the elements hurled their worst at them. Here's a quote. The wind simply shrieked as it tore the tops off the waves, down into the valleys and tossing heights, straining until her seams opened and swung our little boat. Like, how does he have time to write this?
I was like, with all that frostbite, how are you even? When my hands get like stiff, I can't do anything.
All that lack of sleep, man. 80 hours. Man.
Do a lot of things.
He's breathing.
May 11, 1916, Shackleton's party landed on the other side of the island from the whaling station.
Oh, damn.
So they set off on foot to reach the whaling station, which is over a mountain. So Shackleton, Worsley, and Tom Crean climbed over mountains and slid down glaciers, forging a path that no human had forged before. After 36 hours of desperate hiking, they staggered into the station at Stromness. And there's a little excerpt. I'm not going to get into that as much, but like just the one of the guys at the station, like his account of what happened. He's like, I'm seeing these mangy guys. And he's like, we need a ship to go save these other 20 guys. And like, how can you not believe him?
Yeah.
Because of the way they came. Like,
There's nobody else out there.
yeah.
It came from a mountain. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You guys are tripping.
Yeah. So first they rescued the 3 men that came on the James Caird. So they went around the island, got those guys.
Nice.
Then they focused on rescuing the 22 men they left behind on Elephant Island. It took them 3 attempts to get to Elephant Island.
What? In
Yeah.
a bigger boat?
In a bigger boat.
If I was Shackleton, I'd be like, listen,
you got that little dinghy.
we just got here in that thing, and you got sails and power. Okay. Wow,
So
3 tries.
So first one, it ran low on fuel navigating the pack ice and was forced to turn back to the Falkland Islands. The second ship, which was proffered by the government of Uruguay, came within 100 miles of the men before being beaten back by the ice. So they were close. Proffered means given to. I had to look it up. So just if you were wondering. Then the men on the island, they were growing more and more dispirited and doubtful until August 30th, 1916, the Yelko from Chile made its way to the men on Elephant Island. It had been 128 days since Shackleton and Worsley left on the James Caird.
Oh.
And once they got there, within an hour, the camp was broken and the men were on the Yelko.
Did they all make it?
Every member of the Endurance original ship were safe and alive. So this is
except Mrs. Chippy.
So, the people, the men that were there.
That's incredible.
Incredible.
128 days. I'm looking at pictures of Elephant Island.
Yeah. It's
that ain't no Bahamas. That's nothing. That's no man's land.
Yeah. And yeah, so it's 480 days being on Antarctica and then another 128 days on Elephant Island. And the trials that Worsley and Shackleton went through just to save them, that's passion and leadership. Like, if you guys were left there, I'm sorry. I just rode 800 miles.
I wouldn't even be mad at you. It's been 2 years, man.
That was 800 miles was a lot. Like, that was your chance to get out. No.
That's crazy. There's so many crazy parts of that story. Yeah. Just rowing 800 miles.
Yeah.
Navigating that. I wouldn't even know how to navigate that.
And another crazy thing. So they originally left just days before World War I.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know if they knew it was going to happen or anything. Oh, yeah. And then when they came back to Europe, 3 years later, that's totally different Europe than what they...
We should have stayed on the island, bro.
Yeah, when, they probably should have been praised as heroes, like, we got bigger shit going on than your little adventures, okay?
Yeah, welcome back. Here's a rifle.
Yeah. So the thing that brought me to read all this and this incredible story is there's a expedition now, the Endurance 22.
Oh, geez.
They've just...
Have we learned nothing?
No, people have done the Antarctica thing. They just found the wreckage of the Endurance.
Whoa.
And as of right now, as of today of recording this, tomorrow on the History Channel, there's going to be like a special about the Endurance and finding it. So 5 weeks from now, when you hear this, like, oh, okay, look back a month on March 22nd, History Channel. Go watch that.
Go check it out.
But yeah, they found it. The pictures are incredible. We'll put them in the show notes.
Nice.
Just the pristine condition that the ship was in because of the cold waters, because
up there too, it's more clear, right? The water's more clear.
Water's clear. You don't have the critters that eat into wood down there because it's too cold.
Whoa.
It's eerie as hell. And also seeing the old pictures from Shackleton's crew, like, that was cool too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have a lot more information about that, but we're running way over. You guys can find it for yourself. I thought the story itself was
that's
amazing.
your party knowledge right there. Just memorize the cliff notes on this. That's a banger of a story to tell at like if anyone's like, yeah, but what is real leadership?
Yeah.
Well, do I have a story for you? It's 1914. Yeah, you know the rest of it. Go back and listen to it. But Shackleton, man, hat off to him, dude.
Right.
Wow.
Shackleton and Worsley. I want them for president.
Yeah.
Vice president.
Bring those men back. Those are sweet.
I'd vote for them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.